For over 2,000 years, the story of Atlantis has been written off as a myth, just a cautionary tale from the philosopher Plato about a perfect civilization that got greedy and was swallowed by the sea. But what if the greatest legend in history wasn't just a story? What if the myth was a memory? In 2025, a team of researchers made a stunning announcement, claiming to have found geometric city-like structures right where Plato said they'd be. Their sonar scans taken off the coast of Spain are fueling a firestorm of controversy. The team says they found Atlantis. The scientific community, however, is far from convinced. The story has always started with Plato, around 360 BCE. In his famous dialogues, he describes an island empire beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. This wasn't just any island, it was a superpower with incredible wealth and technology. Its capital was an engineering marvel, a city of concentric rings of land and water, and at its very center, a massive temple dedicated to Poseidon. Plato tells us this empire was a dominant force until it was stopped by the ancient Athenians. But its end didn't come from war, it came from nature. According to the legend, around 9,000 years before Plato's time, in a single day and night of misfortune, the island of Atlantis disappeared into the depths of the sea. For centuries, that story has been a source of endless fascination and frustration. Was Plato recording history, or was he just making a brilliant point about politics and pride? The overwhelming consensus among historians and archaeologists has always been that it's a myth. After all, no civilization with that kind of power could have existed that deep in the Stone Age. Most experts believe the story was likely inspired by smaller, real events, like the volcanic eruption that crippled the Minoan civilization on Crete. The search for Atlantis has become a legend in its own right, a tale full of hoaxes, wild theories, and dead ends, until possibly now. The search keeps coming back to one place: Spain. Plato's clue about the Pillars of Hercules points right to the mouth of the Mediterranean. Researchers have scoured the coast near Cadiz for years, but the deep ocean has held on to its secrets. Enter Michael Donnellan, an archaeologist who believed the answer was out there, buried under thousands of years of sediment. In 2025, Donnellan and his team brought some serious tech to the old hunting ground. Using high-resolution sonar and LiDAR, they started mapping a huge, unexplored patch of seabed off the Spanish coast. They weren't just looking for rocks, they were looking for a pattern. A very specific geometric pattern that Plato described in detail. They were looking for rings. For months, they scanned the seafloor, trying to filter out the noise of natural geology. And according to them, they found something that wasn't noise at all. They believe they found a blueprint. What the team claims their sonar revealed is genuinely mind-bending. Their images appear to show the faint but unmistakable outlines of massive circular walls buried in the seabed. Just as Plato wrote, the scans seem to show concentric structures, some still rising over 6 meters high. They also identified features that they interpret as man-made canals, with straight lines and sharp angles that look totally out of place in the natural world. They argue this isn't chaos, it's architecture. Their scans identified what they believe are 3 distinct rings, shockingly close to the dimensions Plato recorded. The team also reported finding large cut stone blocks that look like they were shaped by intelligent hands, not tumbled by the ocean. But the most stunning claim was what they found at the very heart of the formation, a large rectangular feature. Donnellan's team believes this could be the Great Temple of Poseidon. The layout, the scale, the location, he says it all fits. He's calling it the most compelling evidence for what he terms a great ancient Atlantic culture. The sonar images of these formations are real, but whether they are the ruins of a lost city is the multi-million-dollar question. A claim this big is bound to cause an uproar. Donnellan's findings, presented at the Cosmic Summit Conference, have made waves, but they have not been embraced by mainstream science. As of right now, this research has not been published in any peer-reviewed scientific journal, and it hasn't been independently verified by other experts. Frankly, most archaeologists and historians are deeply skeptical, and for good reason. They point out that Plato's timeline, placing Atlantis' destruction around 9,600 BCE, is a massive problem. That would put an advanced, metalworking civilization deep in the Stone Age, which contradicts pretty much everything we know about human history. Many argue that these underwater shapes, however amazing, could simply be natural geological formations that happen to look artificial. This is the debate in a nutshell. On one side, you have a team with compelling images that seem to match an ancient story. On the other, you have the entire weight of established archaeology, which says such a place couldn't have existed then. Similar claims about circular features in this exact area have been made before and later dismissed. So what happens next? The sonar scans are just the beginning. The team's next goal is to get permits for a full-blown expedition, sending down remotely operated vehicles to see the site up close. They want to touch the walls, analyze the stone, and look for the one thing that could change everything: definitive proof. If, and it's a huge if, they can prove these structures are man-made and as old as the legend, the implications would be staggering. It would mean a complex maritime civilization existed thousands of years before Sumeria and Egypt. It would mean Plato wasn't just a philosopher, but a historian recording a distant memory. It would force us to admit we're a species with amnesia, that a whole chapter of our story was lost to the sea. We're at a fascinating crossroads. The images from Spain present a tantalizing question, a ghost from our deep past illuminated by modern technology. We have the maps and a story that has haunted us for millennia. But the truth, the final proof, is still sitting under hundreds of feet of water, waiting to be verified or debunked. So what do you think? Are we looking at the beginning of a new chapter in human history? Or is this just the latest echo in the long, frustrating search for a city that only ever existed in a story? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you want to follow this story as it unfolds, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. The answer to one of history's greatest mysteries might be just around the corner. You won't want to miss it.